It was a tale of two motos the last time we went ATV National Motocross racing. At Ironman Raceway in Indiana, perfect conditions for the first moto of the day. And Joel Hetrick did his traditional disappearing act of it at yellow number 88, leaving his championship rival, Chad Wienen, to make a come-from-behind charge. Under these blue skies, there was simply no stopping Hetrick, who got away from the rest of the field. And while Wienen would climb up into second, it was too late to do anything about the early race leader. But then it all changed moments before Moto 2 and the skies opened up. Everyone threw on their mud setups and did their best to simply survive. In a series where riders and machines are no stranger to difficult elements, this turned out to be one of the worst ever, as nearly everyone ran into equipment problems, including Hetrick and Wienen. Somehow Hetrick was able to get his machine to the top of the hill with the help of his friends, and then he helped them get up as well, while Wienen simply limped around with low power to somehow salvage the race win. Welcome back to Racer TV's continuing coverage of the ATV National Motocross Series. We're in Sunset Ridge in Walnut, Illinois, and rain continues to follow the series around. We had heavy rain in the days leading up to this event, kind of similar to the conditions we had at the end of our last one you saw there in Indiana. But the rain might actually turn out to make a great track this weekend. There's Chad Wienen, always smiling when he comes to this, his home track. Lots of other riders excited. You got the pink livery on the machines. This is the breast cancer awareness event. So you see lots of radical and different looks on these machines today. And a little bit different looks in the results as well. You got Jeffrey Rastrelli trying to fight off a bunch of kids for Podium real estate. Only thing that doesn't change, it seems to be the Joel Hetrick and Chad Wienen show up front as usual. But which one of these young kids is going to break free and finally get that victory? Feel like we talk about it every week, every year. Maybe Brandon Hogue is the one to get it done. He has been super fast this season. He's got a whole bunch of podiums. Maybe it's his day to put it up in the center of the box. Let's talk to him.
We got really good weather here for the weekend in Illinois. Track's looking great. I'm super excited. We got sunny skies, so hopefully try to back it up and do it again and turn this back half of the season around. Got some really good riding in Illinois and Iowa, so I feel pretty prepared, and we'll see what we can do out there.
Hogue, that podium in the last race and nearly won the season opener, but eventually had bike problems. Joel Hetrick still on top in the series standings.
I'm super excited for this one. We still got a pretty good points lead coming off Ironman's mess we had there. This one would mean a lot to me, of course, and I'm just really looking forward to it. We put the work in. The bike's working awesome. Phoenix Racing has this thing dialed in for me. The guys behind me, Dean Baker, Gary, and Jim, are my three amigos, I guess you could say. They're always here for me. Couldn't do it without them, and we're in good spirits. We're positive, ready to go out there and have some fun.
And he needs to have those spirits because there's Chad Wienen. Again, it's his home track, and he did win that last race in the mud in Indiana. So a little bit of momentum back in the corner of the defending champ, and there he is doing what he does best, absolutely murdering the roughest whoop sections on the track. Go back to Hetrick. Love how the Phoenix Racing team has put a different look on his Yamaha every weekend, including the John Deere graphics this weekend out. There's Hogue, we've been talking about him, 26. So he's definitely happy about his chances this weekend. He's like an entirely new rider this year. And Bryce Ford right there with Hogue, knocking on that door. Same thing with Max Lindquist on the number 2. These guys are all capable of podiums, and you got Nick Janusa there on the 15. You can defend them off, staying in top 5 battles all season long. This track, pretty choppy, and that's, I would think, due to all that rain we had coming in here. But I think the riders probably like the challengers. Michael Allred. So many guys stepping up this year. Decker. There he is on the 23. Terrani, the 51, the rider out of Italy. There's some big airtime for you. Jimenez on the 101. Hetrick back to his old tricks. On top in fast qualifying. ATV Motocross coverage on MAV TV is brought to you by RP Race Performance, by RockyMountainATVMC.com, and by CST Tires. Well, when you come to an ATV race in Illinois, the fans, they come to see Chad Wienen, their native son, and the 8-time series champion. Let's check in.
Home race for me. We're been putting in a lot of work, a lot of testing, and getting our machine where we want it. I'm ready for today. It's been a good stay at home, and track conditions today are looking primo. They got some rain yesterday morning, so it usually ends up being a really good track the next day after a rainfall. So we're looking forward to that. And man, my team, everybody's showing up big, and the family and friends. So we're gonna try to put on a great show for everybody and see if we can make it to the top step today.
Beautiful Sunset Ridge, Illinois. These fans packed in here definitely want to see Wienen get it done. But most of the fans in ATV Motocross are also racers. We integrate the amateur racing program, even down to the kids, right into the same weekend that the pros race. And that helps rough up the track as well. Jeffrey Rastrelli doing his own work on the machine. Joel Hetrick as they prep up his quad. And now we're ready for the first moto. Riders down at the line, ready to go. Pole shot so important here. Let's see if one of these noobs can get out in front of the veterans and finally win one of these. Let's go. Hard driving in the first turn, and it's a John Deere livery on Joel Hetrick's Phoenix Racing Yamaha, putting him out front, but he's got Wienen right behind him. Rocky Mountain on board with Rastrelli, who's got some work to do. And you can see again how choppy this track is. Bryce Ford got absolutely rammed by Patrick Torini. Hope no damage was made to the machine there as Hetrick and Wienen continue their usual charge out front. And this is what the fans come to see, these two in a slugfest. And the conditions have really turned out almost perfect, although it is pretty hot and humid, so a little bit more of a test physically. And look at Wienen trying to bear down on Hetrick. And he is closing the gap and using a different line in that left-hander and still able to hop over the top of that jump. And Brandon Hogue is doing it, running with them as Wienen closes up some more and is looking for an opening. Good job getting that Yamaha back down on the ground, a little bit lower over those jumps. And now gonna try the power move around the outside. Hetrick holds him at bay for the moment. It's the best we've seen Wienen ride. It was a bit of a slow start to the season for him. 5th and 3rd at the first 2 rounds of the season, and then got that win in the mud last time out. But to be able to beat Hetrick straight up in perfect conditions, even at his home track, is a tall order, but he is running the pace, and so is Brandon Hogue. You gotta be impressed with this. And then there's the battle behind them you see all the time. Rastrelli, Ford, Janusa, Max Lindquist duking it out. There's such good racing back there behind these two, but when it's this close, you certainly want to keep the focus on the lead group. And Hetrick has answered the challenge from Chad Wienen, and Hogue is just staying right there. And you hear them just hanging it all out. Here's that battle we were talking about. Bryce Ford trying to hold off the cavalry back there in this battle for 4th place. Hetrick really letting it fly now. And distancing himself from Wienen again, and they're pulling away from Hogue. Then back to this battle, you got Wolf, Janusa, Ford, and Logan Stanfield. Love to see it. Running with that lead pack. Hetrick on a rail right now. I don't know what changed first couple laps of the moto, but now it's turned into, I like to call it, meant to do it. You almost think it's a mistake, and then it turns out to be a cool line, or just hanging it out and making it work. Lindquist and Rastrelli going at it. So it's Rastrelli and Lindquist all alone behind this 3-rider duel up front. Then Wolf and Stanfield continue to battle. I think Ford has gotten by now. And this is for a piece of the top 10. These guys are really going at it. Great to see this kind of depth. And Wienen is back. Not over with this battle up front. Hetrick is going to have to sweat. And I mean it, because it is hot and humid today. And these fans, you know who they're pulling for. They want Chad Wienen to get there. Mechanics cheering as well. Hogue, a spectacular run in 3rd. Not quite able to keep these two in sight the whole way. But what speed and improvement he has shown. Oh, Hetrick just putting on a clinic. Incredible. His riding on this rough of a racetrack, and yet Wienen able to hover right there with him. Australian Linquist, they've been going at it the whole time. That is Zach Decker. Flip the quad. Wienen is right there again, so a rematch. Early in the race, they battle. They're back on each other now. What a moto! Wienen diving to the inside! Goes down! Oh, he tried to make it work. Had to go for the desperation move and just send it down the inside. And that's going to give Hetrick a huge lead. But what else are you going to do if you're Wienen? You got to try to make the pass. Now the question is the lead they had built up enough? Oh, and that off-track excursion, how are the officials going to feel about that? Now, they had built up a big enough gap, it looks like, where Hogue is not able to get around him. As long as there's not a penalty, Wienen didn't miss a ton of racetrack there. So it might come down to, does he just inch ahead? Does he see Decker's back up and okay? Does he just inch ahead? Does he just get... Cesar Jimenez has pulled off. What I'm saying here with Wienen is, if he just edges Hogue for third, then they might say, well, that advantage you gained right there when he got up and went straight, that's going to cost you a position. But if he beats him by a pretty big gap, it's not going to matter. If you're Hetrick, got to feel good about this. There was a battle brewing. See the giant lead he has right now. Hetrick now free to cruise to the line. And what can you say about Joel Hetrick? The speed has always been there. It's always usually one race a year or so with some bad luck that leads to his undoing as far as winning title after title after title, and that has always been the battle between he and Wienen. Speed versus consistency. And even with a crash, Wienen is looking good for the number 2 spot, and that's what's got to be so frustrating if you're Hetrick. You got to say to yourself, man, what is it going to take for me to get the break where he gets a bad finish? We go back to Rastrelli and Linquist, man, they've been at each other's throats the whole way. Shout out to the crew here from Hetrick. You heard him mention Dean Baker as the old engine builder for this Phoenix team. And Baker ended up taking a job with the Joe Gibbs Racing NASCAR team, but he said, you know what? I want to see this through, try to get a championship. So Baker still comes to the races on weekends to support Hetrick and keep that unity and camaraderie together. His Phoenix racing team is so dedicated to ATV Motocross, but they also race Arena Cross, Supercross, and GNCC off-road on bikes. So they're pretty busy over there. David Eller, the team owner, former racer, he has a very successful construction business. Doesn't have to go out here and spend the time, the effort, the money for ATV Motocross or any form of racing. But this is what he loves to do. Been backing Joel Hetrick for a long, long time. Switched from Hondas to Yamahas more recently. A little bit more of an updated machine there with fuel injection on the Yamaha. Did a little work to get that dialed in. They certainly have it right now. And Hetrick is headed to a big win in Moto 1. The crash for Wienen robbed us of a potential battle. Hetrick will take it. Hogue, a great run for third. Rastrelli and Ford in that battle. And we'll be right back. ATV Motocross on MAV TV is brought to you by RP Race Performance. By Rocky Mountain ATVMC. And by CST Tires. Welcome back to coverage of ATV Motocross on MAV TV. I'm Jason Wygant. We get ready for the second moto. Good weather this time. Rocky Mountain on board with Jeffrey Rastrelli. And let's do it again. We had a great first moto. Here we go. Bryce Ford gonna lead them into the first turn this time, but he's bumped from the inside. Brandon Hogue gonna get the whole shot, and Hetrick, your first moto winner right there. Ford slinging some roost. Let's see what Hogue can do at the start. And Rastrelli up to third now, ahead of Wienen. And Hetrick immediately going to work on Hogue, working the outsides. Can't quite get it. And then Wienen to the inside on Rastrelli. Hogue trying to hold off Hetrick, who just OJs, gets all the way to the bottom, overjumps it, sticks the pass on the inside. That's what it's all about for your series points leader. And Chad Wienen wants a rematch of Moto 1. He's going after Hogue right now. Hogue hit that bump on the inside, it slowed him, and just like that, we're back. Hetrick and Wienen 1-2. Well, we know Hogue has speed this year, but you can really see what Hetrick and Wienen can do when they get desperate and they have to make moves early. Nice job to those whoops by Hetrick. Actually pulled away a little bit from Wienen. He's got a good drive in, good entrance speed, and that allowed him to stay on top. Looking for the 1-1. Rastrelli, Ford, Janusa, Lindquist round out that field up front. Oh, tricky, that uphill jump. Almost caught Hetrick there. Moto 1, you remember, Wienen was able to catch. Hetrick then really made a desperate dive down to the inside when he saw an opening and ended up crashing. So both riders here have confidence. Obviously, Hetrick does. He won the moto, but Wienen's got to feel like, I can get this guy. And he's using that inside line right here. Can he get a drive into the whoops? Almost. Love the way this track has come together to allow the multiple race lines. Listen to the fans. They're all about Chad Wienen here at his home track. And he's giving the fans what they want to see, a knockdown, drag-out battle for the moto and overall win. Wienen is right there. Serious pressure being applied, and there's a mistake. And now he's got the opening he wants down to the inside. Can he get the drive this time? Hetrick, a great job to get over that lip, that landing, and use that speed from the outside to his advantage. So fun to watch these two, and this time, Wienen got an inside line that worked. Hetrick gonna power around the outside. What a duel! Oh, Hetrick tried to squeeze in there. Wienen just able to hold him off, and he is so hard to pass. First time Hetrick has had to sit behind Wienen now throughout the weekend. Can he figure out some lines? Wienen had a lot of time in both motos to figure out where to go to school and where to make passes. You do not often see this, even from the likes of Chad Wienen, to catch and pass Joel Hetrick. But it's the home track, and probably a little desperation. It's pretty far back in points compared to where he normally is. And Hetrick, meanwhile, he doesn't want the classic combination, throwing that points lead away just to risk it for one moto win. Let's see how he plays it back here. Hogue still in third. What a great weekend for him. Okay, Hetrick's definitely hanging out. Let's see how hard he's hitting those rollers on the inside. And Hetrick is still there applying pressure. There's Hogue. Man, has he ridden well. I know I say it every time we see him, but not just how close he's been able to stay to these two when they are having an all-time battle and really pushing the limits, but also Hogue separating himself from some very good riders. The Rastrelli, Lindquist, Ford, Janusa group. Brandon Hogue is a completely different rider this year. Now, here is that group. There's Ford on the 4. In formation. Got Rastrelli around him, Janusa. And Hogue has put distance between himself and the rest of the field. The start helped, but look, the lap times, they don't lie. And there's been plenty of moto for those riders to reel them in. Oh no, Ford with a problem. And we hear he actually had a crash. And he's shaken up right now. It's not an equipment problem. He had a crash. Hetrick not letting Wienen go. Great racing. These two have been at each other for so many years. But to have a great one-on-one duel in both motos, we don't always get this. Big Chad Wienen airing it out. Go back to this battle. Janusa, Rastrelli, Lindquist. Like I said, the fact that Hogue has been able to hold those guys back is impressive because they, just like the Wienen Hetrick group, are really pushing each other. So let's watch this fight. Lindquist on the 2. Trying to get Rastrelli. Oh, Hetrick trying to figure out a way to nail that corner just a little bit better and close that gap. As you see Rastrelli and Lindquist. Man, Rastrelli has been in battles all year. I feel like every time we see him, he's got one of these young kids he's trying to fend off. White flag is out. You hear the air horns, and Ford's still circulating after that crash. The air horns, the cheers, they are so proud of their home state rider. Chad Wienen gonna earn the overall with a 2-1. It's gonna be 2 overall wins in a row. Don't count championship number 9 out. There it is, a big win at his home track. Chad Wienen gets it over Hetrick, and Hogue with the 3-3 scores his 3rd. Let's talk to our top riders. Great day of racing.
Man, 3-3s feel good. I love these things. Yep, it was awesome. I really love being up here on the box. So far, so good. With a box last weekend and one this weekend, this is my first like 2 in a row. So we're gonna try to turn this year around, and yeah, man, I'm just really having a lot of fun. This Honda's working, and yeah, I'm just so freaking pumped. See you at Briarcliff.
Felt like we were pretty close for the majority of the race, and then started to see a little puffs of smoke, and where we're at right now in points, there's no reason to chance something like that. So kind of backed off towards the end. Really sucks for me. You know, everyone here probably thinks I got tired, but unfortunately that's not the case for everybody here. I know they really wanted that, but that is not the case. So we will see you at Briarcliff, and we'll be ready.
All right, man, we just wrapped up Sunset Ridge. Great day. Moto 1, Joel and I were putting on a battle, and I had an opportunity to make a move, and I chose a line that wasn't very good, and it caught me and ended up tipping me up on end, and brought it home in second that moto, but second moto was on. We traded punches the whole race, and I ended up making a move and getting past him, and I just knew I had to keep pushing the whole way, and man, just a beautiful day. The home crowd was on today, and good vibes, and just pumped to get an overall win here at Sunset Ridge, and gonna enjoy this one. Thank you, guys.
Oh, heck yeah, you got to enjoy it after a hard-earned battle like that. CST Tires race recap. This is Moto 1. As you saw, Hetrick out front, Wienen closing the gap, then Hetrick pulled back away, and there's Hogue putting in a phenomenal ride right behind him in 3rd, and then this battle raging the entire moto behind them. Here's Wienen's attempt. Had not used this inside line much, a little unfamiliar with it, but the opening was there, had to go for it, tipped over, still able to hold on for 2nd as Hetrick takes the win. Hogue 3rd. We go to Moto 2. This time it is Hogue and Rastrelli out front early, but Hetrick knows what he needs to do. Get that clean air, makes the quick move. Same thing for Wienen to get up in the 2nd, and it was on. As you heard Wienen say, just trading punches the whole time. There's the move on the inside. He spent so much time following. He figured out where the passing lines were. Ford disappointed with the crash there late, and there's the win for Wienen. Hetrick, as mentioned, had some overheating problems and was able to nurse at home and still has the big points lead. So congrats out to all 3 riders on the podium. Great racing today for everyone at Racer TV. I'm Jason Wygant. Thanks for watching.